Once again, everybody, it's Chris Bezanoy or Chris B with CSB Security Inc. with yet another informative video. Today, we're actually going to answer a question from a client that deals with access control systems under the Cannabis Act and the removal of certain devices inside cannabis present rooms to no longer log access to and from. So, excuse me, I'm going to take a look. It says, hi, Chris. We got to understand under the Cannabis Act, you no longer need to log access to and from cannabis present rooms. Therefore, since we have readers on both sides of these doors, can we remove the reader on the inside? Do we have to tell Health Canada about it? Does it look good to Health Canada? What are the repercussions of doing so? Okay, so what this client basically wants to know is that under the ACMPR, we had to install card readers on both sides of the door to be able to get logging to and from. That was an ACMPR requirement. Under the Cannabis Act, you no longer need to log access to and from cannabis present rooms except for the vault or the secured storage room. So what this client wants to know is what happens if I remove the card reader on the inside of these doors leading into my cannabis present rooms? Can I do so? So I'm going to go through a few quick answers, and I'll go through some things you should be mindful of should you choose to remove the card reader inside that space. So number one, quick answer is you can absolutely do so. As long as you tell Health Canada what you're doing, as long as you get your security installers or consultants to redo some drawings, let Health Canada know you're making an amendment to your application, to your license or even application for that matter. Let them know that you filled out the proper forms because you did a change to the security system. Whatever you may need to do to let Health Canada know, including the forms you may need to fill out, you can remove the card reader inside cannabis present rooms because you no longer need to log access to and from. The question really remains, should you do it? Do you want to do it? What are the repercussions of doing so? So first and foremost, you may not want to remove the card readers inside your cultivation or cannabis present rooms because you may want to log to and from those rooms anyways. Under the Cannabis Act, even though you don't need to anymore, you may want to. From a business perspective, a business decision, maybe you get an insurance break, maybe your insurance carrier says, no, we like everything the way it is. If you remove the card readers on inside those doors, we can't tell who logged to and from. We liked that. Maybe there's some other regulations that you may want to abide by that you would require logging to and from to make sure that you are compliant. GMP comes to mind. Potentially, you may want to log to and from these rooms from a GMP compliance point of view. Point being is you may want to still do it under a business decision. Second reason is you may not want to remove those card readers inside the rooms because those card readers are actually configured very specifically. They are configured to log access out of a room, but you may notice if you try to open your door without swiping a card on the inside room reader, you may set off an alarm. It's because you didn't swipe your credential to the reader. That reader has been configured to know when somebody's in the room and allow them exit when they swipe their card and not set off an alarm. In other words, it's saying, hey, this person is leaving this room. They were allowed in. They were allowed out. They're not breaking in. They didn't breach any doors. They didn't kick in a door. Allow them exit. That reader may be taking that functionality. If you remove that reader, you've now caused alarms every single time you leave your rooms. The only way to solve that is to get your integrator to come back and install extra security devices that tell the access control system, I'm legitimately allowed to leave. I don't need to present a credential to a reader anymore, but the system knows I'm in the room and is allowing me to leave. That could potentially cost you lots of money. Let's take a scenario where you've got 25 cannabis present rooms, all logging to and from. You want to remove the card reader inside those rooms. By doing so, you're causing alarms to your doors. So, if you really want to do it properly, you have to install extra devices for each and every door. You add in the conduit and cable that may be needed, the labor involved, the reprogramming the system, the labor involved with installing a new device, the purchase of the device, and all of a sudden, you could be looking at $2,000 per door. Potentially. Let's call it $1,000, just to be safe. $1,000 per door in programming costs and additional devices, conduit and cable, whatever. So you could potentially be costing yourselves 25 grand. That may not be a big deal. It may be worth it still, but just know there's money involved because it's not as simple as removing the card reader inside of these rooms. From a Health Canada point of view, you can do whatever you want in those rooms. You do not need to log access to and from. You still need to restrict access, absolutely. Don't be confused by the Cannabis Act and what they consider to be areas that need to be restricted You have to restrict access to cannabis present rooms still. You still want that reader on the outside of those rooms to provide logs for Health Canada and restrict access to those that have a reason to be inside that room. Doesn't change the fact that removing the reader on the inside you can absolutely do. There's just pros and cons to doing so. You may want to leave it. You may want to make it so that you don't remove it, but it still has the functionality of leaving the space. Removing it or disabling it will do the same thing to leaving the space. It will still set off an alarm whether you remove it or deactivate that card reader, because most likely it's been configured to set off an alarm if you don't swipe your card. Talk to your integrators, talk to your consultants, redesign, rethink. Yes, you can remove. Should you? And is it good based on what it is that you want to achieve in your facility, the costs you want to have associated with removing it, and what it's going to take to make sure you're compliant again. If you have any other questions, feel free to send us an email. Go ahead and ask us. Go ahead and follow us. We do a lot of informative videos. We answer a lot of client questions. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.